This is Ukradowski of We Are Change here in Acapulco, Mexico, and I am joined by the one and only Max Egan, researcher, philosopher, but just overall an amazing human being and a free thinker. Now, me and Max have been talking, and he has taught me a new word that I have never known before, and I'm probably going to be butchering it here. Kakistocracy? I'm sorry. You have to tell me about this new word that was taken out the dictionary. We're going to go over this and a lot more important information in this video. Now, Max, tell me that word again.
The word is kakistocracy. A kakistocracy is ruled by the very worst elements of society who rule entirely in their own self-interest to the permanent detriment of all other classes. It's actually a real word. It was taken out of the dictionary about 100 years ago. They do that. They change the language, you know, new think and all that sort of stuff. But it describes basically rule by the shit people. That's what it's about. When you've got the worst possible people in society who have maneuvered themselves into a position of control and are running the planet into the ground, and that's exactly what we've got. Yeah. And I don't think we're ever going to be able to deal with these problems until people realize that's the real problem, is that we've got a bunch of criminals running this world and we're being politically correct about it. You know, we've got to stop that. Stop playing by their rules.
Yeah, we're seeing a lot of kind of self-censorship. We're seeing a lot of political friendly talk, PC talk. We're seeing that encouragement, but it's just amazing that there's so many words out there to describe these things that are just being taken away from us to even describe what's happening. And that's an exact way that I see it. If you look at the world, and you've been doing this for so long, like you could just see the progression of this just element of trying to dumb down and trying to grasp and just escalation. What do you think are some of the biggest problems we as humanity are facing today?
Well, look, obviously the problem is government, but really it's us. I mean, we always put the blame on someone else. You want someone to point the finger at. I think the problem is our lack of self-responsibility and our lack of belief in ourselves and our own power. That's the biggest problem that we've got. We can point the finger at everybody else and say, please fix it, but we've got to act ourselves. I really firmly believe that if we were to change our perspective and change the way we interact with people, we could change the world from the ground, the way we are, from the ground up, grassroots, just do it from the bottom up. That's how it has to change. That's the big problem. We're looking for someone to blame. The blame has to come with us. But really, we've been trained to view ourselves as being little people who can't make great change, who can't have powerful thoughts. But we're not like that. We're real people. I always say that anything that we see in the world today, every problem that we've got, every good thing that humanity's ever done, every bad thing humanity's ever done, has been the result of a thought that somebody had, a spark of thought in their mind that they shared with someone else, it resonated, and it became reality for everybody else. But we've been trained to believe that we can't have those great thoughts. We're just little people. But there's no such thing as little people. Everybody can have these great thoughts. All there exists is just people. Government is just people. It's just guys we employ to manage things for us. They're all abusing their office, and we think they need to change it. They're the ones who fucked it up. They're not going to change it. We have to change what we believe we are. That's the biggest problem we got.
And they're only as powerful as we make them, and then when you face them and actually confront them with their horrible deeds that they did, they don't know what to do. They don't know how to handle themselves. No. And kind of the bigger point I wanted to make here is I've been kind of seeing a kind of progressional trend to dehumanizing other people, especially when it comes to the controller's hands with the mainstream media. Like when you turn on the television, you just see constant violence, constant just horrible human beings doing horrible deeds to other human beings. But in reality, we were just talking about this, if we look at the statistics when it comes to crime, when it comes to violence, when it comes to human beings hurting each other, is going down, and it's the lowest point that it has ever been in human recorded history. So I think the war on information is extremely important, but I wanted to get your take. What is one important aspect that you are optimistic about when it comes with this great battle that we are against these corporate government elites?
Well, the fact that they've got to do all of that. I mean, like you say, they promote this incredibly violent society on the television and teach us that this is what the world outside our doors is like. But hey, look around you. Are you seeing it anywhere? It's not there. It's not the way it is. And I think that they have to do this. They have to, they're chemtrailing us, they're spraying us, they're putting stuff in the food, they're putting fluoride in the water, they're putting propaganda on the TV. They got to do all of this stuff just to keep us locked down. And guess what? With all of what they're doing, they're losing. They're losing, and the world's waking up anyway. The awakening is exponential now, and the more they try to lock it down, it's in people's faces and they're waking up. I just say, bring it on. Bring it on, lock it down more, because the more you move to lock us down, the more people you wake up, and you're stumbling, you're making mistakes, and you've got to do all of this stuff just to try to hold little old us down.
Yeah.
You guys have got to work 24 hours a day, 365 days a year, just to prevent us from waking up, and we're waking up anyway.
Yeah.
You know, they're losing, and that's an incredibly positive sign. I really believe that this is the most powerful and empowering and important time in history to be alive, because I really believe that this is the time that we actually have freedom in our grasp for the first time in the entire human experience. We've never been free. We've had stuff that looks like freedom, but we've never really known what freedom is. And even with this movement, when people say, oh, we need to be free, we need to have this new system, we need to have this and that, no one really knows what freedom looks like. It's going to be an organic thing, and if we change our perspective and change how we interact with people, it's going to just create around us we don't even have to create a new system. The system will change around our new consciousness. We don't need to reconstruct or deconstruct anything except ourselves.
Yeah.
You know?
And it doesn't have to be a violent revolution. It doesn't have to be a turn in the day, because when you do a revolution, you just come back to the same place you were at before. It could be an evolution with people slowly adapting, doing small things, whether it's Bitcoin or whether it's creating technologies, or just moving away from the system and creating their own system non-violently, peacefully. And this is slowly happening in our lives. We're seeing it right now with one voice, one idea. Like right now, that could be spread, that could be shared all over the world in a matter of seconds, and they can't do anything to stop it. They could censor it, they could demonetize it, they could give us less incentive to tell the truth, like YouTube does by hurting us financially on this thing. But other than that, they can't do anything to stop this grand, beautiful idea of just like freedom, of liberty, and just love and compassion of what life really should be, and not what they have programmed it to be. But now, one thing I also want to talk about, because when we talk about they, when we talk about them, usually everyone has their own kind of perspective on who they are, who them are. Who are they for you?
Look, this is a question that I get into with people and don't get into with people. Lately I've been doing talks, and I've been entitling them Conspiracy Misdirection. Because whoever you want to believe they are, okay, you tell me who you want to believe, whether you want to believe it's reptiles or aliens or the Jesuits or the Jews or the bankers, or whoever you want to believe. You give me a week, I'll prepare a slideshow, and I'll mount a convincing case to convince you of whoever you want to believe it is, because all the information is out there to do it. You know, you can point the finger at anybody you want to. Really, ultimately, the money system, the bankers are what's the catalyst, the glue that holds it together. But if you want to get to what's behind the veil, you're going to have to establish freedom first. We're sitting here arguing about who to point the finger at. So I'm going to point the finger at you, then what? We're going to sit there and throw rocks at their house or something? I mean, it's not going to work. We've got to change us. Who they are is us. Yeah. We are responsible for this mess by our failure to take responsibility for ourselves, and our fear of ever stepping into our own personal power. We can point the finger at they all we want. But like I said, man, I'll prove it's anybody you want. You know, we can go down that rabbit hole, and we hear a debate for the next 3 years while the jail's being locked down around us. You know, it's a misdirection. All the evidence is there. We are what we need to focus on, and we can move this forward with brutal honesty. Brutal honesty, stand up and just speak the truth. Yeah. Call it like it is, don't be politically correct. Just speak the truth and speak and move towards freedom, and we will have it. It's right there in our fingers. It's right there in our hands right now.
Yeah. And sometimes we could be our very own worst enemy. And if, and a lot of people I see have a hard time dealing with a lot of hard truths that they have to deal with personally, a lot of hard introspection. But if you want kind of a system, if you want to live a life of true freedom, of true love, of true prosperity, it starts and begins with you. And the true responsibility is within you watching right now. Thank you again so much for watching. Definitely check out Max Igan's website. It's going to be in the description below. You're an awesome human being. Thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it.